There's a saying that it takes money to make money, but what they don't, well, what they should add to that is it doesn't have to be your money that you use to make money for yourself. And this is how it's done in real estate a lot of times. And in business, people will borrow money to buy a business or start a business, and then take the profits, pay back some of the loan, and keep some of the profits for themselves and keep going. They'll use loans to buy other companies to increase the size of their company, to buy equipment. So that's pretty, standard to do. And then with real estate, you know, you can do that to buy a house. You get a loan to buy a house, then you rent out the house, and the rent pays, the mortgage plus you keep some of the extra rent for yourself and make a profit when you sell the house, hopefully. So, really, you might need some money in both those cases for down payment. They're not going to give you 100% because they want to make sure if you don't pay, they can get their money back, which is understandable. So you do need some of your own money, but it doesn't have to always be all of your money. But that's kind of expanded here recently. Now you can do it with options. You can control 100 shares of a stock for a company. With a fraction of what it would cost to buy the 100 shares. So that they keep expanding and expanding how you can borrow on margin even and buy the stock if you want and then pay the interest. So you don't. It's a there's a bigger risk in that in doing that because you owe that money back even with the business if the business goes out of under somebody still is liable for that loan or they have to write it off. And then stocks and options, you pretty much pay that up front and you either exercise the option or you don't. And if you don't, you lose what you paid for the option. So that's that's a little bit easier that way. But margin, if the stock goes down, you could even have a margin call and have to put more money in so it's covered to what they want. But now businesses are starting to do that too. The credit union I noticed that you can borrow your own money and pay a fee uh, for both CDs and savings as collateral. So uh, I probably would have used the CD one if I'd have known it at the time and thought about it and known how low CD rates were going to go. I had money in CDs, and I did get one at a decent rate before the interest rates went way down. So I did lock it in. But if I'd have thought and had known about it, I probably would have. It was a $90 fee for the application fee, and then I'm sure at the time, since the interest rates on the CDs were higher, the interest rates to borrow it were higher. But I could have locked them in, and I had some more CDs coming due that I could have used to pay that off, and kind of like paying points on a house. You pay some money up front to hold it. So when you get it, you know what the interest rate's going to be. So yeah, I probably would have did that. The $90 and a couple months of interest, I could have got that back pretty quickly with the higher interest rates on the CDs. But now I noticed E-Trade sent me a email saying that you can borrow against your um, investments in their accounts. If you have at least 50,000, it's like 5.5% interest, and if you have over 10 million, it's like 2.2, and it's a variable. So as interest rates start going back up, that would go up. Now that you know, I might use under a certain circumstance, but with my conditions right now, the way it is, I probably wouldn't use it. But maybe in my earlier, if I was younger and just starting out, because they always say to have a safety amount, savings, something, 3 to 6 months of savings to cover your expenses. right now, no matter where you put that, if you put it in, really short-term CDs, so you can get them out every month, or even, go to some online banks or and put them in savings, you're not getting a whole lot out of that. So I might use it as a thing of putting my emergency fund into maybe a CD at the credit union, or even, if I had that much savings into E-Trade, and kind of, it's another investment strategy, and there's some risk that I'm not going to need the emergency fund, so it can be building, you know, some more equity than it would have just sitting in a uh, savings account. And if I needed it, I could get it. You can also do it with home equity lines of credit. If you own a house, you can put your extra money towards the mortgage so you're paying it off quicker. But if you need it, then draw down on your um, HELOC account and use the money out of that. So it is a gamble, but it depends on, why the condition of your car, if you think you're going to have an expense coming up, not coming up, how secure you feel in your job, things like that. So under the right circumstances, I would probably even use that. But like I said, now the way it is, I think I have enough in savings to cover me without it having to be invested. But when retirement, it might change. I may want as much money as I can get, coming in from my investments, and not just having money set in a low bearing interest account. So it could change, and it's something to think about and do if you were, especially a CD. You're not going to lose money in that, but it's too late to get the higher rates right now. But if things turn around and you do that later on, well, like I said, it really depends on your circumstances, your job, how secure you feel in your job, how you feel about being able to get another job or something, the economy turns down again once it gets better. So so it is kind of an interesting thing to think about and use. Like I said, the CD one I probably would have used just to lock in those interest rates. So when my other ones were coming due earlier this year, I could have um, put the money over there and got a decent size interest rate, especially since I was worried about stocks and what they were going to do. They came back fine as it turned out. So you were probably better off putting them in stocks than you would have a CD. But just something to think about and know about, and kind of do differently if you're willing to take that risk and what your circumstances are. So thanks for listening. Bye.